Hi, so today I want to show you how to return scaffold stock after you've hired them out to a site. And to do that, you have already launched your Scaffolder application. So go to the Scaffolds manager, and over here you can see all this information which I had explained in a previous video. But just so that we don't have to look through each record to see which one has scaffolds which are out that needs to be returned, we know that the total scaffolds which have been hired out are 150. So these are distributed across different orders, and to know which ones, you can use this function called browse records, and then you can use the retrieve by status, okay, to see which ones are still out. So to know which record is out, you will see the keyword return is not there. Anytime you see the keyword return, you know that the scaffolds have been returned, whether with damages or with losses, or they have been returned fully. Okay, if you see something like new hire or extended hire, it means the scaffolds are still out. So today we are going to check out this order number. We'll confirm the order number for this hire before we receive those scaffolds back, and I will show you a couple other things which we need to understand before we can process things like losses and damages. Okay, so let's check this. This was a new hire to this record, and you can see there's an action recommendation here to process this record. So you can view the details, and you see that anytime you see this variable scaffolds in as 0, it means that all these 30 steps are still out at site, and therefore they can be received back. Okay, they are supposed to be received by this date. So on this date, we are going to receive this scaffold. So we are going to assume that from 1st to 20th September, it's now 20th September, the scaffolds are back to the yard, so they need to be received also in the system. And you can see here that there's a balance of 71,000 on this order. The client paid 100,000. From this previous interface, you see that the client was supposed to pay 171, but they settled only 100,000. So there's a balance of 71,000. It's a new hire with partial payment of this 100,000. So we are going to receive the full scaffolds in good order, but we will offset this amount, let's say like 30,000, so that you can see the effect. Okay, so what you need to note here is that you can extend this hire because the scaffolds are still at site, and you can settle the balance on this hire. So we need just to know the hire number and those details before we can process this record. So I will go to return scaffolds. What was the hire number? Sorry, the hire number was HN04. So you come to return scaffolds, and then on this field, this is the form for return scaffolds. There will be some of these fields will be populated once you have selected the hire number for the record, and this field is only populated with the records that we have scaffolds out. So if the scaffolds have been returned, they will not appear here because it's not relevant for this function. So if I click here, I'll see all these hire numbers have got scaffolds out. Those scaffolds where we have got the keyword return do not appear here. So it was HN04. You can see the balance was 71,000. Quantity at site is 30 steps. So I will come here and say, let's say I want to settle a balance of, I will pay 30,000 when returning. Now you will notice that this field is disabled until you decide what quantity you are returning. This will be important in a later video where I will be showing you how to handle losses and damages. Yeah. But since your quantity at site is 30, we don't want any issues with this client because they have returned the full number of steps. If I type in here 30, you will see that it enables briefly, then disables, because there is no unreturned scaffolds. All of them are back. But if I say something like 20, you see, now this is enabled. I can be able to select whether there were lost pieces, broken pieces, or it's an extension request. So the unreturned scaffolds in this case would be 10 pieces. So are they lost? Are they broken or damaged and therefore cannot be returned to the common pool, or am I extending them on a different site? So for this time around, I want us to just return all the scaffolds, so that is disabled, and say all is good. Maybe you can say the balance to be settled at a later date. Okay, then you commit the returns. So before I commit the returns, you're going to see this change from 150 to 120, and then of course the cash flow will change from 660 because I'm paying 30,000. I should be able to see 690. This will also reduce by 30,000 because this is the, so we'll see here 156,000 and something. Okay, so commit returns, and there you go. So you can see here you have 120. This is 690. You have there 156,000. Now the scaffolds are available for hire have gone up to 680, and you see part of those which are still outside are the 20 scaffolds which were extended. I also want you to see that the higher number for HN04, the record details have changed. So this is HN04, this one, this for 1st September, this one, 1 2 3 4 5. So you can scroll across to see the details of this record. Number one, so it was this one. So 30 had gone out on 20th September, 30 came back. That was the location. And what I want you to see is the status of this record. So you can see here the expected revenue was 171,000, but the client paid so far, the first time they paid 100,000. Then when they were returning the scaffolds, they paid 30,000 extra. So now it's 130. The balance that was remaining was 71,000. Now it is 41,000. But since there is a balance, green usually means that record is sorted or you are satisfied with the way it's going. But red here would indicate that it's still a balance. So this was return, which means no scaffolds out. They were all returned, but there's a partial balance. And then you can see here the remarks. So in future, when you're browsing this record, you can be able to see what do you need to know about this record. Okay, so the balance will be settled at a later date. Also, you may have hundreds or thousands of records along here, so you can't use this scrolling to see the details of what has happened to that record. You can still go back to browse records and then just go straight to the filter for the HN, and there you go. So there is still an action to be done. As you can see here, the 30 steps are back. Okay, all the details, the other details remain the same, but when you come to view payment data, now you can see the amount paid is 130,000. There is a balance due of 41,000, and that is the new status. There is a comment there which can help you to understand more details about these specific transactions. And then of course the action options. You will realize you can no longer pay the balance of 41,000, this one, upon return, because the return has already happened. So I can't launch this. For example, if I come and launch return scaffolds, I can find HN4 because all the scaffolds have been returned, and that have made this function irrelevant to this order. So the only way to settle that balance is to go to browse records and then go to the HN number, action option, and then settle it from here. So we will cover this in a different video. Okay, thank you.